Hey everyone, it's Becky from Book Obsessed Becky. I am coming at you with my July wrap-up, and this month I have read 9 books, and I DNF'd one of those books, so it would have been 10 if I had finished it, but I just really could not get into it. So I'm not that great at explaining books, like reviewing them without giving spoilers. I have a really hard time with that, but I'm going to try my best. I have notes and everything here like usual, but like I detailed them more, I guess. So maybe grab a drink and get comfy because this might be a little bit long. I'm going to try to keep it short though. Alright, so the book that I DNF'd is by Grady Hendrix. It's called My Best Friend's Exorcism. And I think it was this month that I DNF'd it. I couldn't get into it. I DNF'd it pretty early on in the book, around the first time that they started talking about rape. The part that really turned me off was the judge or something in the town was telling the parents of the girl that was assaulted that maybe they shouldn't press charges because the guy that was responsible for the assault, the attempted rape assault, was a good student and he had a whole life ahead of him, so let's not tarnish his reputation with rape allegations. And that just really turned me off. I was like, you know what, nope, I've heard enough, and I got rid of the book. But that does leave 9 books to talk about. So I have some of them here next to me. Others I listened to, and then I also used my Kindle for some. So I'll include pictures for the ones that I don't have here, and I guess let's get started. So honestly, I can't remember what part of the month I read these in, so I'm just gonna go with what I've written down here. Okay, so the first book that I did get through was a audiobook, and it is called The Dream Guy Next Door. I think I gave it like a 1.5, maybe 2 stars. Basically, we're following a girl named January. She is 37. She's a single mom. She has a daughter who is 15 who's really good at like cyber hacking and things like that. They have a very close relationship. January owns her own business. She's a carpenter in a small town. And a man moves in next door. His name is Liam. He's got a 10-year-old son named Ethan, and he's 39. He is a vet. He's moved back home because he's going to help his father out with his vet practice. And he's got a British accent, and she thinks he's quite nice looking, but she doesn't want any kind of a relationship because she's happy being single. Well, Liam, he wants what he had growing up, which is, you know, both parents in the home and a good childhood. He wants to give that to his son. So he is looking to date to find a woman to marry. If you hear anything, it's because it's pouring out and I have the windows open. So he's looking to settle down. The problem is they're both attracted to one another, but they don't want to ruin their friendship that they've built up because they're neighbors. And like I said, January doesn't want anything serious, whereas Liam wants something serious. The banter in this book was really good. I enjoyed their friendship that they had or have. It's a slow burn romance. There are steamy scenes in it. And a couple of things to be aware of is there is a death due to cancer in this book, and like spoken about. And then there is a parent that has medical issues. So if those are trigger warnings for you, just be aware on that one. And again, I gave it like a 2 star. The audio was fine. I didn't mind the narrator or anything. I don't know. It was okay. I probably am not going to reread it. Another book that I read this month that I really enjoyed, well, not this month, back in July, was The 5-Star Weekend. This was a book of the month pick from a long time ago. I don't even remember when I got this one, but I really enjoyed this book. I think I did give it a 5 star. It is a story about a female friendship, old flames, self-discovery, and I really loved it. So we're following Hollis. She is a famous food blogger, And if you think like Martha Stewart with the entertaining and like the table spreads and all that, that's kind of what she does. She is recently widowed. She has a daughter who's in her early 20s and is a college student. And she owns a home on Nantucket. She's kind of lost in her life right now after losing her husband. And she kind of is really craving friendship. And she comes across this article about like a 5-star weekend. And basically what it is you get a best friend from each stage of your life. And you kind of hang out for the weekend. So she decides to host one of these at her Nantucket home. She invites 4 friends. I think it's 4 friends. Maybe? I can't remember. She invites friends from her past, and then she invites one woman that she met through her blog, who she's never met in her life. And they all get together at her home, and they spend the weekend together doing different activities that she's planned, having great food, doing all kinds of things. But what she isn't expecting is some of the drama that comes along with these friends of hers from past hurts that they have, or husbands that are just complete jerks. Like one of the women in this story is dealing with a husband who is being sued for sexual harassment again. So he makes an appearance at the home in Nantucket. There are discoveries made by some of these women about their own sexuality. And there's drama involving one of the ladies that has to do with her career. She's a sports writer or announcer or something. And another one who's facing a possible cancer diagnosis. There are definite trigger warnings for cancer. Parental death caused by cancer. There's sexual harassment. There is spousal death. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. There's a past flame that comes into Hollis's life, so we get to see how that all plays out. And I just thought it was a really great story. If you're looking for kind of a beach read, then maybe give this one a go, because I really did enjoy it very much. I'm flicking through the page here. The next book that I read was The Daughter of the Pirate King, and it was a buddy read for me. I was not so sure I was going to like this book, but it drew me right in from the beginning. We're following, I think her name is Alosa. I think that's how you say her name. Again, I'm terrible with names, but she is the daughter of the Pirate King, who kind of runs like the seas. And I think it said that she was 17 or 18 in the book. And she has her own pirate crew. They're mainly females. She is, I keep looking down because notes and all. She's very smart, she's beautiful, and she's incredibly skilled in defending herself and running her crew. And her father gives her a task that he wants completed. He wants her to sneak onto a ship and look for this ancient like treasure map. So we're following her as she gets caught on purpose by an enemy pirate crew, because she needs to get onto the ship so that she can see if she can find this map for her father, and her father doesn't trust anybody else to do it. And I'm just warning you right now, her father's a bit of a dirtbag. So yeah. And the crew is not what she was really expecting. The captain on this pirate crew is kind of a heartless dirtbag, and she's expecting that, but his first mate she wasn't expecting. He's not like a regular pirate. I mean, yeah, he's good looking or whatever, but he's kind of thoughtful, and he listens to her, and he really pays attention, which she's not used to. He notices things about her that most people don't notice. And she finds that difficult because she's attracted to him, but the problem is she needs to outsmart him so that she can sneak around on the ship. And we're meeting some fun characters, I thought, when she's in prison below decks, or below, I guess it's below deck maybe, I don't know, I've never really been on boats too much, so And I really enjoyed like her communication with these guys. And I wish I had brought my Kindle over here because I would have read you some of the lines. But there's two pirates in particular that are constantly looking after her, like guarding her, I guess, that just cracked me up through the book. And one is superstitious, like seriously superstitious. And the other one's just like, whatever. But I love this story. I thought it was great. It was such an adventure. It had me on the edge of my seat sometimes. And the banter between Alusa and I think his name was Ryden. He's the first mate on the enemy pirate crew. Was great. I enjoyed watching their relationship kind of evolve. They do get into some sticky situations. And yeah, I'm excited to see where the rest of the series goes. There is violence in this book. There's abuse in this book. There's attempted sexual assault in this book. And there is a lot of drinking. But I mean, it's a pirate crew, so I guess it makes sense. And yeah, if you're looking for kind of a summer, like, sea adventure kind of a book, then definitely give this one a go, because I thought it was great. Like I said, I think I might have said that 10 times already, but I really did think it was great. And I'm excited to get on to the next one. And I think I gave it a 5-star. So that's good. Okay. The next book I have here is a 1-star romance. It's a enemies to lovers situation. We're following two friends. We're following, well, and they're in their 20s. We're following Natalie and we're following Gabby. Gabby is getting ready to celebrate her, I think, like 24th or 25th birthday. And she's dating a guy named Angus. And this is right in the beginning of the book. I think it's even on the flap. But he proposes to her at this surprise birthday party type deal he's got going on for her. And Natalie is not a huge fan of Angus. She thinks he's a bit of a golden retriever kind of a boyfriend. And maybe he is. I liked his character a lot. But Natalie doesn't handle change very well. And Gabby is going to be moving out to obviously live with her husband. And the night that the engagement is announced, Natalie meets Angus's best friend, Rob. Now, Natalie is a person that she wants to become a writer, right? So she does all kinds of odd jobs so that she can still write. Like, she's a struggling artist kind of a person, whereas Rob is straight academic. He knows what he wants in life, and that's what he's going for. They're complete opposites. They hit it off, of course. And Natalie is excited to get to know Rob more as they're getting the wedding stuff situated and then being best man and maid of honor or whatever. Natalie ends up finally writing her book, and she's getting great reviews on it until the night of the rehearsal dinner or the reception or something. She discovers that she has a 1-star review. And then, of course, it's not like marked with a real name or whatever, but then she discovers who it is that left it, and the person that left it is Rob. So of course that creates friction between the two characters, because Natalie can't believe that he would do something like that, and Rob can't believe that she would write a book like the one that she wrote. It really ticked him off, and I'm not going to say what happens there. You're going to have to read it, but there is a big explosion between the two characters. I think at the wedding reception, like at the end of the night, and they are both fine with not ever having to see one another again, except life doesn't work that way, and they are brought together multiple times throughout this book due to Gabby and Angus's life. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite. I think I might have given it a 3-star. I'm not so sure I'll reread it. But if you're looking for kind of a quick rom-com, friends to enemies kind of a situation, then this might be the book for you. There is cancer in this book, so if that is something that you struggle with, beware of that. And there's also parental, like, abandonment and Another thing is like, another trigger might be like not feeling worthy or good enough, having those kinds of struggles. So if any of that is bothersome for you, then maybe stay away from this one. This also includes parental dementia, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, this book that I'm going to talk about is called This Summer Will Be Different, and I picked this book up because look at the cover. I picked this book up because it takes place on Prince Edward Island, PEI, and this cover reminds me of the island so much, with the red dirt and the beach and that whole deal. If you've ever been to Prince Edward Island, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say red dirt, because it's everywhere. So that's why I picked this one up. And I am so glad that I did. It ended up being a 5-star read for me. I loved it so much. So this book mostly takes place in PEI, a little bit in Toronto, I think, as well. And we're following 2 friends. We're following Lucy, and we are following her roommate or best friend. What the heck is her name? Her roommate and best friend, Bridget. And Bridget is from PEI, and Lucy is not from PEI, but they kind of met in college, and they both live in Toronto now. And Bridget brings Lucy back to the island over vacations and things like that, because she loves her parents, but her parents are kind of disappointed in her life, like the things that she's chosen to do in life. They're kind of stucky people. It's not really Lucy's vibe, so she spends a lot of time with Bridget, and she falls in love with the island. Well, Bridget's one rule is that she cannot fall in love with her brother Felix. Well, spoiler, Lucy and Felix end up sleeping together, and this book takes place over like multiple summers, and each summer Lucy's like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not gonna like end up sleeping with Felix, because she doesn't like keeping the secret from her friend. And yeah, we're following that whole situation, and her friend Bridget is getting ready to get married, and Lucy owns a flower shop, and she is supposed to do all of the flower arrangements, her floral arrangements for the wedding. Well, just days before Bridget is supposed to walk down the aisle, she heads home to Prince Edward Island, and she doesn't say why. She just goes, and she asks that Lucy join her. So we're following Lucy as she joins Bridget in Prince Edward Island, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Why is she kind of running away from her wedding before it even starts? There's something going on here, and she doesn't know what it is. Nobody knows what it is. So yeah, we're following that whole story. We're following Lucy kind of sneaking around with Bridget's brother Felix. We're getting all of the island vibes, which I found to be very accurate. And yeah, I really love this book. It's about female friendship. It's about like falling in love. Like this book really made me homesick for a place that I've never lived but visited often, if that makes sense. I don't even know if books can do that, but I felt homesick for the island. So yeah, I think it definitely did what it was supposed to do. It's a great beach island summer kind of a read. And again, if you like stories told over multiple summers, if you like island vibes, if you like chemistry between friends, like friends to lovers kind of a situation, definitely give this a go. There is steam in here. I really enjoyed the friendship between Lucy and Bridget. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm so glad I picked it up. I really am. Okay. Next on the list is Medusa. And this was a book club read, and I loved it. I think it's a middle grade book. When I was reading it, it was giving me all the Harry Potter vibes. Not like wizards kind of a thing, but it was. If you read the book, I think you'll see what I mean. We follow Ava. She ends up going to this school, like a regular public school, and she one day gets really mad at this kid named Owen in her class, and Ava really struggles with her anger. And one day she just kind of blew up at Owen, which typical kid stuff, right? She's a middle schooler, makes sense. Except Owen's reaction doesn't make sense. He just kind of froze. Like, he was unresponsive. He was just kind of standing there, like staring off. Completely weird, like he didn't fight back or anything. Well, Ava comes home from school and her mother hears about it, and things start moving rather quickly. Ava's mom used to also struggle with anger like this, and she ended up going to a school in Venice that was created by like Greek gods and goddesses, and this school is to help kids who are descendants of mythical monsters, mythical monsters. And yeah, it was such a cute story. So Ava and her brother Jack go to this school, and obviously her parents don't stay. They get to know some of the students. There is some bullying in here, so if that's bothersome, beware. But they get to know the students, and Ava soon discovers that things are not quite as they seem after one of the famous like goddesses comes to the school for the day. And she starts sniffing around, and there's definitely a mystery going on here. So her and her friends kind of get to work on discovering what this mystery might be. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away, but there's definite adventure in here. There's mythical creatures in here. There's kind of like monsters in here. There's, I guess magic would be the word. I loved it. It was full of adventure and friendship, and if you loved the Harry Potter series, then I think you would probably love this series as well. This is the first book in the series. I don't even think the second one's out yet. But yeah, I'm excited to get to the next one. It was so good. Okay, so my battery cut out. The next book I'm going to talk about is Wolfsong by TJ Klune. I was so excited to get into this. It was a book club pick for the month, and I was excited to get into it because I absolutely love The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I can't wait for the next one to come out. This book is not that. This book is nothing like The House in the Cerulean Sea. This book is, well, I don't even know how to say it. I think this book had the most descriptive sex scenes I have ever read in a story. I did not like this book at all. I thought I would, but it was not for me. So we're following Ox. He is a kid. His dad leaves him when he's like 10 or 12 years old. Basically, he tells Ox that Ox is only going to get crap throughout life. People are always going to crap on him. Don't ever expect anything more than that. Ox is left with his mom, and now he is the man of the house. His dad used to refer to him as a big dumb ox because he was quiet, he didn't talk a lot. And it wasn't that he's dumb, because he's not. He's thoughtful, and he's thoughtful like overall, but he's thoughtful in the words that he chooses to speak. And yeah, he's not at all what his dad thought he was. So Ox is now the man of the house at like 10 years old or 12 years old, and he gets bullied at school because he's a big kid, and he's quiet. He doesn't have any self-confidence or whatever, and his dad walked out on him and his mom. So a few years down the road, this family moves in next door. They're the Bennett family, and they are not what you would expect for a family. If you think of the movie Twilight, or the books Twilight, where the people move in next door that are vampires, but you don't really know that they're vampires right off. That's kind of how the Bennett family is, except they're not vampires, they're wolves. And they're a pack, and their territory is the area like the town that Ox lives in. He hits it off with the family really well. At this point, he's like 16 years old in the book, and one day he's coming home from school or work or something, and one of the boys, the youngest brother in the pack, has been mute for like a year or two because he had suffered some serious trauma from this awful man that stole him away in the night. His name is Joe. I think he's 10, and the day that he meets Ox, he starts speaking again. So of course his family is excited, and they take Ox right in, and Ox becomes kind of part of their family, even though his mom is right next door. He doesn't live there or anything, but he just, it's kind of like a found family type of situation, and Joe is obsessed with Ox, and we're watching the relationship throughout the years. Remember, Ox is 16 at this point, and Joe is like 10. And we're watching this kind of relationship go throughout the years. There is imprinting in here, which if you've read Twilight or watched Twilight, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. And that happens when Joe is very young. I don't know what to say about this book so much. But Ox's life changes the moment he meets the Bennett family. And some of the changes are not for the good. Some pretty terrible things happen in this book to people that Ox loves. And those terrible things result in Joe and some other members leaving to hunt down the person that caused the problems. So we're watching like Ox and some of the members that are left behind kind of going through their day to day without Joe and some of the other members of the pack. We're watching them struggle, and Ox ends up taking on this role that he never expected to take on in the family. And yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of like, hey Joe, hey Ox kind of talk, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how many more times do I have to hear hey Joe, hey Ox? And it just, I don't know, it just wasn't for me. And the book club that we had on it, I did it with Lauren and the Books. The discussion that we had, it was all pretty much the same. There were a couple of people that really enjoyed the book, but most of us were kind of like eye roll, and we're just like, ooh, kind of a thing. It is obviously a fantasy type book, which I love fantasy books. I loved Twilight. Like, I don't know why I didn't love this. I think maybe it was the extremely descriptive sex scenes that did it. I don't know, and I'm torn because I want to know what happens between two characters, but I don't know if I want to put myself through reading the next book because these books are kind of chunky. I think this one was over 500 pages. But yeah, that's Wolfsong. Again, not my favorite. Oh, and there are definite triggers in it. So loss of parent abandonment, there's murder, there's violence, there's blood, there is found family and friendship. So those aren't trigger warnings. That's pretty great. And the descriptions that TJ Klune gave about the area and the woods and all that, I thought that was great as well. But again, the book just didn't do it for me. All right. The next book I read was Funny Story by Emily Henry. And I've read all of the books out that Emily Henry has written so far. And for me, Beach Read is number 1, Book Lovers is number 2, and Funny Story comes in at number 3 of my favorites of hers. I really enjoyed the book. We're following Daphne, who recently has moved with her fiance Peter back to his hometown, and they're planning their wedding. Peter just bought a house. It's up to Daphne to furnish the home, whereas Peter has his name on the home and he's the one that makes the payments, right? she's not a school librarian. She's a librarian in a town, and he's got like some good paying job. I can't remember what he does. And Peter's best friend is a girl named, I think you say her name is Petra. I don't know. But Peter is constantly telling Daphne she has nothing to worry about. There's nothing going on between the two until things change. And he decides that he is in love with his best friend from childhood. Well, his best friend, Petra, I really think that's how you say her name. I don't know. She is in a relationship with a guy named Miles. They live together, and she discovers that she is also in love with Peter. So Peter breaks it off with Daphne, and Petra breaks it off with Miles, and then Peter and Petra, boy, I'm going to feel like an idiot if that's not how you say her name, end up engaged. And remember, I had said that Daphne works in a library, a children's library. It's her dream job, but the pay is not amazing. So she is kind of scrambling as to what is she going to do, where is she going to live, that sort of thing, because her name isn't on the house that Peter bought. So she has to get out. Well, Miles offers up a room to Daphne because now he doesn't have his girl living there anymore. So he's got space. So Daphne moves in with him, and they don't really know one another, and Miles is heartbroken, obviously, and he loves like ballad love songs and like Bridget Jones's Diary and things like that, and he has like multiple jobs, and he is not anything like Peter. So they don't really know one another, and they kind of keep their distance from one another. But as we go through the book, we see that they start to form a friendship, and Daphne is debating on leaving because she doesn't want to be in the same small town that her fiance is in. And she doesn't really know anybody there, so it doesn't really matter. Well, Miles decides that he wants to keep her around, so he offers to take her out every Sunday so that she can kind of get to know the area and meet some of the people, and she decides that she's going to do that. So throughout the summer, that's what they do, and we're watching their relationship go from basically strangers to a friendship to like pining for one another. And throughout all of this, there's this moment where Peter gets in contact with Daphne, and Daphne kind of tells Peter that her and Miles are dating. So there's a fake dating trope going on in there, and yeah, it's such a good story. If you like kind of found family and friendship, like Finding Friends and the fake dating trope and falling in love and great banter and library settings and that sort of thing, then I really think that you're going to enjoy this book. I thought it was great. I loved the settings. I loved all the banter. I loved the friendships that Daphne makes. There are trigger warnings for obviously breakup, emotional abuse, and parental neglect in here. So beware of that if those are things that bother you. But like I said, this book is number 3 for me when it comes to Emily Henry books. I really did enjoy it. The last book I'm going to talk about is the Bookshop Sisterhood, which was an ARC that I had gotten from NetGalley. And the book is not what I thought it was going to be. So we're following 4 female friends, and they both have a love of reading. 3 of them are like well off when it comes to money, and one of them lives at home with her parents and is struggling. Her parents are immigrants to the country. I can't even remember what country the characters are in. It doesn't even matter. Oh, it's the US. It's the US because it takes place in Delaware. So they're immigrants to this country, and they don't make a lot of money. The father has recently become disabled, so it's up to the daughter to kind of carry the load of the finances and take care of her parents and all of that. And yeah, I thought, oh, this is going to be good, for female friends, and they want to open a bookshop together. Which, hello, I love to read, so I love reading about books. So I thought, oh, friends and opening a bookshop is going to be great. No. The friendship, yes, it's a female friendship, but it's kind of a toxic female friendship. They're always kind of at each other and kind of catty. And the drama that each one of these ladies has in their life, I think, I don't watch soap operas, so I can't really say anything about that, but when I read other people's reviews about it, they compared it to soap operas with all the drama that went on. So if drama is your thing, then definitely check this book out. And I can't even remember the names of the characters right now, but basically one of the women has, is poor. I already talked about her living with her parents. Another woman is a mom, and there's a medical emergency that happens in her life that results in a secret being discovered that changes everything for her. There is a woman who is married, and her husband had been through a carjacking, I guess maybe like 15 months before like the point in the book that it starts out with, but you kind of go back to it, like back in time, you see memories and things like that. So she was part of this car hijacking, and her husband was like beaten. She was held at gunpoint, and there's a lot of trauma that she's dealing with in that like regard of everything that happened. Then the fourth woman is a woman that carries a lot of secrets from her past that she ran away from, and now she's a influencer online. She's got a huge following, and she is newly engaged, and she discovers a medical problem that she has that she worries is going to affect her engagement. And so her idea of dealing with it all is just to lie to her fiance about it, and kind of her past is creeping in to bring things to light that she'd rather keep hidden, so she kind of lies about that. So these four women, their lives are just complete chaos and full of drama. So we're following along with all of their crap going on, and then like on the sideline we're learning about the bookshop that they intend to open, whereas I was hoping it was going to be like the four friends, they get along great, and it's the process of opening the bookstore and how all of that goes, when really it is the four friends and it's a toxic relationship, like female friendship, and they've got so much stuff going on the side in their own lives that the bookshop isn't talked about very much. So if you enjoy drama and kind of like cattiness with female friends, then this book is for you. But if you're going into it like I was for like the bookshop vibes, I don't think you're really going to get that. There are trigger warnings in here for racism, car hijackings, obviously, medical emergencies, infertility, family secrets that it's not a bad family secret, but it can be a traumatizing family secret. So, yeah. Oh, and being scammed. That's another one, like money scam kind of stuff. And incarceration. So, there's a lot going on in this book, especially on the drama front. But, yeah, those are the books that I have read this month. I read 9 books and I DNF'd 1 book. It was a good reading month overall. I think I gave the Bookshop Sisterhood maybe a 3-star. I mean, I didn't hate it. It was better than okay, but it wasn't my favorite. I probably won't reread it. But anyways, yeah. Like I said, 9 books, 1 DNF. It was a good reading month. Actually, it was the best reading month I've had ever as far as the amount of books read in a month that I can remember. hopefully you can find something in this pile of books that interests you. And if you've read any and you want to share your thoughts or whatever, just drop them down below. And I'm hoping that the month of August will be just as good of a reading month. Hopefully I don't end up with a book like this on there because, yeah, I can't. I can't handle it. And you hear me talking about this book and you're like, well, I'm not going to try that author. But really, if you want to read this author, start with The House in the Cerulean Sea because it was so good. It's such a great story. So that's my ramblings for this month on all of the books that I've read, with a lot of I'm sure, and like, I don't even know. I don't even know, my stumbling through the books and things like that. I always find it really difficult to talk about books that I've read because I always worry about giving things away. But I want to say enough to make you want to read the book. So it's always a struggle for me. But, oh well. I will speak to you all very soon, and I hope you're all doing well. Bye.